Vamos a repasar los pronombres hoy. Es un repaso de los pronombres del complemento directo, complemento indirecto, y los reflexivos. So today we're going to be reviewing pronouns. A pronoun replaces a noun. Okay, the first one we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about direct object pronouns. To find the direct object in a sentence, to figure out what you need to replace, you ask the question what or whom. You read the subject and the verb, and then you figure out what the direct object is, if there is one. It receives the action of the verb directly. Here are the direct object pronouns: me, te, lo, la, nos, os, los, las. After you figure out what the direct object is, where do you place it in the sentence? For all pronouns, they go before the conjugated verb or attached to an unconjugated verb or present participle. You should have the note-taking sheet out and fill these in as we go along. I'm going to give you some examples. For example, if you want to say, I see him, you need to use the direct object pronoun. The direct object pronoun for him, okay, is lo. So it's yo lo veo. And it goes before the conjugated verb. You cannot say yo veo a él. You need to say yo lo veo for I see him. Now we have I eat it. And of course, you need to know what you're talking about. You wouldn't just say that if you don't know what you're talking about. You would say it in a conversation, not to be redundant, keep saying the egg. So it in this case is el huevo, right? El huevo. And that's lo. So when you rewrite it, it would be yo lo como. And it goes before the conjugated verb. You're trying to say I eat it. Un ejemplo más, one more example. Tengo dos manzanas. So I have what? I have 2 apples. Okay, so you ask your question what or whom. I have what? 2 apples. So you're going to replace manzanas, and that's las. So you want to say something about I have them. Lo siento, that's las. But you can also say, after you know, tengo dos manzanas, las quieres? I have 2 apples. Do you want them? That is something that you would say to somebody, and that is how you would use a pronoun in that situation for the direct object. Vamos a repasar los complementos indirectos. Indirect objects. Indirect objects answer the question to whom or for whom, and it receives the action indirectly. Do you remember the indirect object pronouns? Me, te, le, nos, os, les. So these, write down the pronouns as well as the English. These mean to me or for me. To you or for you. The only difference between direct and indirect is the le, right? Indirect is le, direct is lo, la, los, las. And if you look back at direct, direct is me, you, him, her, when you're talking about people, us, you. It's not to us or for us. So when we're trying to differentiate between an indirect object as a person and a direct object as a person, one answers the question to whom or for whom, the other is just whom. And of course, if you're looking for a direct object, is always a thing. An indirect object cannot be a thing. Okay. Por ejemplo, she wrote to Juan. Okay. So when you write this, she wrote to Juan in español, ella escribió a Juan. She wrote to Juan. Or if you want to say she wrote to him, ella le escribió a él. With the first example, if you have a Juan in there, you have to have the indirect object pronoun in there. The indirect object pronoun in that does not mean anything. It's just a grammar rule. It still means she wrote to Juan. You still have to have the le in there. If you get rid of the a Juan, okay, and you just have ella le escribió, right there without the a él, you know she wrote to him. A él is just a modifier. You don't have to have that. Los verbos reflexivos, okay, reflexive verbs, mete, se, nos, os, se. Again, the only difference between the three pronouns is in the third person. The rest of them are all mete, nos, os. Direct, lo and la, los and las. The question is what or whom. Indirect, to whom or for whom. Le and les. Reflexive is se. Algunos ejemplos. Lavarse, me lavo la cara. I'm missing a period there. Afeitarse, el padre se afeita. And we've gone through that. Double object pronouns. Como se construyen una frase usando los pronombres. So how do you construct a sentence using both pronouns? Here are the formulas which you should write on your sheet. You have the subject of the sentence. You have the IOP, DOP, and conjugated verb. Or if you don't have an IOP, you might have a reflexive verb. The important thing is that people are more important than things. So the person goes first, then the direct object pronoun, then the conjugated verb. Un ejemplo. She gives it to me. And we're talking about the book. So the book is lo, and to me is me. Okay, when you rewrite it, ella me lo da. So that's the indirect and the direct. IOP, DOP. So it's she, you read it, she gives it to me. Okay, or she gives me it. That's how you read it. Another way could be subject, conjugated verb, plus the unconjugated verb or participle. IOP, DOP, and basically what it's saying here is you can attach it. You can attach it to an unconjugated verb or the participle, and you do the same thing when you attach it. I want to give them to you. Yo quiero dártelas. So you just attach the person first and then the thing is what it is. You could put it in front. You could put yo te las quiero dar. Does not matter. Yo te las quiero dar. Here's another. I am giving them the entradas to you. Estoy dándotelas. Again, the point is that person and then thing. If you want, you can put them in front of a estar. You can say, te las estoy dando. Or again, yo te las quiero dar. It cannot go right here. It cannot go right here. In front of the conjugated verb or attached. We will talk about the accent marks in a second. Okay, you also have to remember can't lay low in Mexico. Okay, if you've had that before. You can't have two L's next to each other. You cannot have lay low, lay la, les las, etc. You have to change the person to the se. There's a box on your sheet to fill this out as well. There's a lot of different uses of se. Okay, here are some verbs that use a person as a direct object. Make sure you write these down. All of these verbs here, when you have a person in the sentence, they are the direct object, and you would use lo and la. You would not use lay or lace. Sometimes you'll hear it called layism, where people in other countries, especially Spain, will use lay for any person that you're talking about, which is incorrect grammatically. There are certain verbs that the person is a direct object. So make sure you write these down. If you take a look at some of them like buscar, buscar also has for in it. Or if it has two in it, or for in it right here, these take direct objects because they already have the to whom or the for whom in there. So what I want you to do is write these down, pause it, do activity 1, 2, 3, and 4. Some are direct, some are indirect. Pause it, and then come back and we'll go through the answers together. If you're unsure how to do this, then just keep listening and watch my examples. But I would write these down. So this is we understand them, the boys. So in this situation, we would say nosotros, and let's leave a blank for them. We'll figure out if them is direct or indirect. Nosotros, and then you can conjugate entendemos. And then them would actually be the direct, so it would be los. Okay? You're reading it, it says, we understand. Whom do we understand? Them. It's not saying to whom or for whom. It's saying whom do we understand? Them. So it's direct. Nosotros los entendemos. And it's right here as well. She looks for him. Ella, oh my gosh. Looks is mirar. For is para. That's what you're thinking, isn't it? Okay, but to, to look for. Buscar. Okay, for is already part of the verb, so you don't need para. So she looks for him. Ella lo mira. And that is one that takes a direct. I speak to her. Yo hablo. Okay, now here I speak whom? To find the direct, it's not whom. I speak to whom. In this situation, this is the indirect because it's to whom or for whom. So it's yo le hablo. That's a le right there. Does it make sense? We tell the truth to them. We could put nosotros here. I'm not gonna do it. So it's decimos la. Whoops. What is going on? Verdad. To them. To them is an indirect object pronoun. We tell the truth to whom? To them. So it would be les. Sorry about this. This is really bad. Les decimos la verdad. We tell the truth to them. This is an indirect object pronoun right there. If it just said them, and you couldn't put the to or the for in there, then it would be a direct. Sometimes if this is really hard for you to understand, you just memorize the verbs that use a person as a direct object. These are not all of them. Vamos a seguir. Acentos. Okay? For the accent marks. To an infinitive, if you add one pronoun, you don't need an accent mark. If you add two pronouns, I would write this down, you need an accent mark on the final syllable of the infinitive. So you have one, no accent mark. Two, you need an accent mark. One, no accent mark. Two, an accent mark. Again, feel free to pause this as you write this down, and I'm just going to continue. Also with the participles, one or more pronouns, you add an accent. So in the participles, anytime you add a pronoun, you need to have an accent mark over the A in ando or over the E in yendo. Doesn't matter if you have two of them or if you have one of them. Two of them, one of them. Okay? And again, pause it. I'm just going to continue with the video. Vamos a practicar. Now we're going to practice translating the sentences. I want you to pause again, write your answers, and then come back and check with me. Okay, now that you're back, I know her. Okay, I know, whom do I know? Her. This is one that takes a direct object. Yo la conozco. He always sends them to me. We're talking about albums. So we have the direct here. Okay, which is many albums actually. So we're going to put the DOP here and the IOP here. And then you're going to rewrite it. Él siempre me los manda. He gives it, the video game, to them. Él se lo da. Don't forget, them is les. The video game is lo. So it's se lo da. They send the tickets to me. Ellos me los mandan. Nosotros los invitamos al torneo. Okay, this is a trick one. Invitar is one that takes a direct object. Okay, the direct object is them as a person. To the tournament is not the direct object. We invite what? There is no what. Whom do we invite? Them. To the tournament is a prepositional phrase, okay, that we're going to talk about later on, how you would say we invite them to it. But you don't know that yet. Okay, un poco más de práctica. A little bit more practice. This is more complicated. What you're going to do is you are going to respond, replacing the direct or the indirect or both, depending. So, por ejemplo, miras el programa de The Walking Dead. So, do you watch the program The Walking Dead? And the question is, do you watch, the direct object is el programa. So you're going to answer, yes, I watch it, or no, I don't watch it. So this would be, well, this is how you speak, really, when you're talking in conversations. If not, if you keep saying, do you watch the program The Walking Dead? Yes, I watch the program The Walking Dead. It's very redundant. Instead, you want to say, yes, I watch it. So here you would say, because I do watch it, it's a great show. Sí lo miro. So yes, I watch it. Okay? Pause it, do the rest of it, and then we'll check it together. If you're having problems, just come back and we'll go through it together. Now that you're back. Hablas a tu madre cada mañana. Okay, do you talk to your mother every morning? So you want to answer and you say, yes, I talk to her. So it would be sí le hablo. Yes, I talk to her. And if you want, you could say cada mañana, ¿no? ¿Compran tus padres mucha ropa para ti? Do your parents buy a lot of clothes for you? And you want to say, yes, they buy me it. Okay, a lot, something like that. So you would say, let's say they buy you a lot of clothes. Sí, ellos me la compran. Okay. So what I said here, yours might be different, is yes, they buy me it, right? So yes, do your parents buy you a lot of clothes? Yes, they buy me it, for example. I just put ellos in there. You could say, sí, mis padres me la compran, for example. Or you could just say, sí, me la compran. You don't have to have the subject in there. We already know you're talking about your parents. ¿Te da tu familia un regalo para Navidad? Does your family give you a gift for Christmas? Hopefully you're going to say yes. Sí. You could say ellos me lo dan. Okay. You could also say sí me lo da if you're talking still about the family. So does your family give you a gift for Christmas? The first one is yes, they give me it. Or you could just say yes, and you're talking about my family. My family gives it to me, is a different way of saying it. So we are going to be practicing this over the next week. So this is just the beginning information. Bring your questions, write your questions down. I can pull up the PowerPoint and we can go over the specific example and I can try to explain it to you a different way. So nos vemos mañana.